In the next 10 minutes, you will discover a new mode of being. We'll transition you from confusion to certainty, from vague understandings of the world to crystal clarity, from dealing with people's bullshit to seeing through it and becoming resistant to whatever people throw at you. It's a sort of a social theory of everything, you might say. We begin this adventure with the excerpt from a book. We begin. Your entire life, you felt like there was something wrong with the world, like you're being used. You give more than you get. You try to play fair and do right by everyone, but things often don't turn out the way you hoped. If you feel this way, you're not alone. The entire world has been subjected to a constant barrage of manipulation. Most aren't even aware, and few know how to stop it. Manipulation is characterized by zero-sum interactions. For me to win, you have to lose. For you to win, I have to lose. What does this tell us about being in the world? About life, liberty, property, the pursuit of happiness? Let me show you something. Most theories of everything differ from a standard theory in this way. This is a crude, rudimentary, even elementary, maybe pre-elementary circle. What I'm going to show you next is the philosophy of Dr. Revel Miller. Dr. Revel Miller has what he calls the life wheel, in which there are 7 aspects of ourselves. There is the spiritual aspect of ourselves. There is the emotional aspect of ourselves. There is also the mental aspect of the self, of you. And there is also the social aspect of yourself, out in the world, how you perceive others and how they perceive you. We also have the behavioral aspect of ourselves. This is what you do, your habits, your routines, what you're up to, all that good stuff. And then finally, we have the physical aspect of ourselves, bodies. Now, the way that most standard theories in any space work is that there is a disconnection. We sort of have this, if I can grab my little cursor here, we sort of have these separate little boxes. Standard theories. We understand this, 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 and we understand this. These different aspects are seen in isolation, yes, and there's some connection between them. What a theory of everything does, as opposed to a standard theory, is unity. Unity. What unites the 7 aspects of the self in the context of a better way to be in this world, of finding harmony, achieving balance, experiencing hope for the future, faith that things are going to work out, certainty that you're going in the right direction with your life, ability to trust others and be trusted by them. There is one word, one tool that will guide you to a life free from manipulation of yourself, free from manipulation of others, free from spiritual manipulation, emotional manipulation, social coercion, and more. And that is what we will call the theory of bad verbs. Joshua, what are bad verbs? I'm glad you asked. Before I answer, I should introduce myself. And I will do so by first mentioning the book that I read from. It is called Become Immune to Manipulation by Noah Ravoy. Noah Ravoy is one of my clients, a proud ghostwriting client. People call me online the Ghostwriter. I've ghostwritten more books than anyone for my age, as far as I'm aware, more than 70 books by age 30, ranging from philosophy, science, to entrepreneurship, marketing, and memoir for a great-grandmother who wanted to tell her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren what it was like growing up during the war. Now, what is the theory of bad verbs, and how does it teach us a better way of being in the world? On Twitter, I have gone viral several times by calling out adverb use by journalists, by politicians, by influencers, by business people, by entrepreneurs, by thought leaders, by investors. A good example of this is yesterday, that is June 3rd, former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton tweeted the following: "Nobody actually needs an AR-15. Actually. When I see someone using an adverb, I will quote tweet them, and I will use all 280 characters of a tweet to type out their adverb over and over and over." Adverbs, you will find, are ways to take what's vivid and make it vague, to hide deceit, to coerce people into believing and living differently than they otherwise would. I'll give you a few examples of this. It's particularly noteworthy how journalists will lie in headlines using adverbs. And I joke that 1 Bitcoin may equal 1 Bitcoin, and 1 adverb equals 1 lie. We will explain how this has ramifications for you in your life in a moment, in just a moment. But first, I'll give you an example. Trump literally killed millions, the headlines say. Biden is basically running the economy into the ground on purpose. You see these headlines. Trump did not literally kill millions. Biden is probably not literally driving it into the ground. Adverbs are what we use when we want people to deny their own reality and adopt ours. And adverbs have a modification effect. Nothing necessarily wrong with adverbs, but the way the adverbs are used makes them effectively bad verbs. They are ways to mentally manipulate, spiritually manipulate, emotionally, so on and so forth. Freedom from manipulation in the core areas of ourself allows us to see ourselves as we actually are, not as the adverb abuse might have us be. So for those of us who are wanting to feel, as Noah was saying, feel free from manipulation, free from coercion, to be red-pilled about reality, so to speak, we want to see beyond the adverbs, beyond the bad verbs. As Noah points out in his book, the first form of manipulation is self-manipulation. We manipulate ourselves mentally, spiritually, physically, socially, and more. The 7 aspects of the self that Dr. Miller has pointed out. Without adverbs, we see reality as it is. The simple and even funny example of you don't actually need an AR-15. Did Trump literally kill millions? Actually has become a meme of someone who is going to very crudely attempt to manipulate, going to deny, going to coerce, The opposite of manipulation is persuasion. You win, I win. The new mode of being is to cease manipulation of ourselves, our emotions, our spirit, our mind, our behavior, so on and so forth. Adverbs are the obvious way that we allow ourselves to be manipulated. And we speak in manipulative terms to others. And so, recognizing the abuse of bad verbs, we have a new mode of being in the world. And you can do it simply, as Jordan Peterson would say, tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Be truthful in your speech. And if you're telling the truth to yourself about what you think, about how you feel, about who you are, you don't need adverbs.